Okay, so Friday we had gold and silver up. Gold more than silver initially, but by the close, silver had outperformed. You also had the dollar up and you had yields down. So it was a bit special. It was a fear trade. It was I didn't actually suss it out at the beginning, but essentially it's European stock markets dropping because of the fallout of the right wing sweeping, the elections, the European elections. And Macron said, "Oh, he called a snap elections early," and I think he's regretting that already. Essentially, the right wings had taken over, um, not even just European elections, also national elections. You got Reform UK taken over. They poll the Conservatives in the UK. So essentially, the right wing is sweeping across Europe. It's about time. It's probably too late anyway. But that's putting pressure on European stock markets, the banks. Is there fallout into US banks? I was already showing the KRE before, and I was saying there's something up, and I didn't really realize, but someone always knows early, I guess. And look at this, we're testing this, let's say 45.5-ish zone, just below 46. KRE is probably going to flush. It's not like the general stock market is suffering. As usual, the S&P, the Nasdaq, they're all-time highs. They don't care. They're in their own bubble territory. But the Russell is weak. We're far from crashing. I mean, inflation is just represented in the stock market. So even though the stock markets should be flushing and bear markets should continue under the fundamental economic circumstances that everyone is in, the inflation just forces it high. I mean, Zimbabwe, Weimar, pick your example, their stock markets always did well during chaotic periods of inflation because of inflation. So that's now my new thesis. Something I should have always known. I did consider it before, but stock markets are just going to keep going up. They'll have their corrections now and then, but the inflation is so high, as we all know, a lot more than what the government say, and the market knows it, and it's represented in the market. So it might come down, but it'll always go back up because of the inflated values. But yeah, the Russell you can see at least might want to flush. We don't care too much. We're also quite separate from the markets, gold, silver, and the miners. But sometimes they're a little affected. I feel like they were a little bit on Friday. You get these big drops in markets. The miners could go down, but there is the chance that it goes up. Because in the last banking crisis, the miners, gold and silver, did very well. And the miners had a little delay of 1 or 2 weeks, and then they started to really catch up and do very well. So we were one of the only pockets in the markets that did really well during the last banking crisis. And if I look at the KRE, this is the US. If you look at the European ones, they're actually obviously a lot weaker. You look at the DAX, for example, look at that big drop there. Probably lost its ascending support. I don't usually cover this. I used to a bit more, but you could have a bit more of a drop. Look at the CAC, big drop. That's the French gap fill. That's obviously about to lose its ascending, or already has. Well, it's right on it. So Monday, continuation, small bounce, then continuation. Point is, European stocks, stock markets, especially the banks, going down. You could start to see it translated in the US markets. And it is relevant to us because the dollar's going up, right? And obviously we closed above 105. It should go towards 106.5. I don't think it's the worst case scenario for us, even though typically commodities are hurt by a rising dollar. But this is fear trade. The dollar was up, and I didn't realize it, or I didn't understand it immediately. But then I realized this is fear related. Why would you have yields down, bonds up, right? TLT up. Why would you have yields down and the dollar up? Well, it's because people are buying bonds, they're going into cash, selling stocks, and they're buying gold. And that's also why gold was up more than silver initially, and gold's up quite a lot. Look at that. Big move after quite an ugly candle. Normally, when you see a candle like that, ascending off a big ugly bounce, it should test this again. And I was considering, okay, we're going to flush, maybe fake flush, like a realistic bullish case. You have this fake flush and then a hammer formed here. I drew that. I always take away my drawings just to make it clean for the next video. But, this looks like an ice cream. But, you have a hammer here and then you can reverse. That was like one of my best case realistic scenarios. I didn't think we'd have a big move up, but that's fear related. And that doesn't mean the miners do well. Now, they did do well. I'll get to the miners in a second. But when gold's up 1.5%, and silver, by the way, also did quite well. Not at the beginning, but by the end, 2%. But you'd expect silver up 2%. Silver miners should be up 2%, right? At least probably up 4.5 on a day like that. Instead, they're up less than silver. So you can see it's a fear-related trade. Yesterday, I think also the day before, a bit of a drop there, but there's fear at the end of last week, or this week. It's Saturday today. So there's a bit of fear. However, for silver, it just coincidentally looks great on the chart. It's the ascending support. This should be strong, by the way, for silver. So this sort of 29-ish zone should be strong. So it's funny how things just, events pan out well and just coincide with chart technicals. Just always seem to happen. But we need this to hold in silver. I still think silver is very, 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 very strong. But if it bounces from here, the chart just looks picture perfect. Gold, also, if we can just keep going sideways, break out this descending, eventually we'll probably test the old highs and keep moving up. The miners, a little weaker, they've come down a lot more. For me, the only clear support is, okay, let's just look at the GDXJ 40. However, I can understand if it starts to pick up support now because of what gold and silver are doing. Also, they've come down more. I don't want to call this a real level, this gap fill 41, but you can kind of create levels wherever you want. So we could end up just going sideways and going up. If we go down, though, 40 is support. I just want to keep it simple. If we go up, I've taken a few of my horizontal lines because I kind of want to follow gold right now. And also you could retest the ascending, which probably coincides here. This is the only clear resistance, and then the all-time high, but recent high. So there's probably some resistance like this area here, 44. I just wanted to clear it a little bit. I'm just going to do this, right? Because you're not going to do that in one go. That's just too much of a move. 10%, that's ridiculous. You could get 3 or 4%, a nice bounce. We've come down quite a lot. And if gold starts to surprise people and there's fear immediately Monday, Tuesday, if the miners agree, cooperate with gold, then we could have a nice bounce. If they sort of, and this might happen, if the markets start to drop, European markets on Monday, you saw the CAC 40, the French markets, the Germans, and if there's a bit of fear and the miners sort of want to follow the stocks down, but the gold's going up in fear and it's sort of stuck between both, you could have a bit of sideways action, which is fine. Once the markets recover, we go up again. Either way, we're going to outperform the markets. So I just want to leave it a bit blank for now, right? Just to see what happens Monday, because there's this extra element. SILJ, same thing. We saw it didn't outperform silver, so that's a bit of an indication. So are we creating a little bit of support here? Again, another little gap here. That's twice we've hit this little 11 area. So I didn't draw this line in the other one, but this one I did. So this one I can stay. If we have a nice bounce, another 3, 4, 5%, obviously it's silver, it will move more. If we don't cooperate, who knows? We could go down to this level here, the equivalent of what we saw in GDXJ. I just want to leave it a bit empty. GDX, finally, it's all the same stuff. Okay, here at 33, that's its equivalent of where we're bouncing. All right, let's see. Otherwise, not too far down to go until we hit its what should be major support. It could end up being 32 then, just because of how far away the others are. I mean, if the others are going to go down 3, 4, 5, 6%, GDX is probably going to have to do a bit more than that. Okay, I'll do it like that. But you see what I mean, right? We've got one level lower, should be very strong support. We have a smaller level higher in case we have a nice bounce straight away. And if we have a continued bounce, then we've got the other levels. All right, let's look at the actual portfolio of miners, starting off with Newmont. Newmont's doing all right. It's still holding its 40 level. I think if it goes down, 40 should be support. If for some reason we just flush, then for sure the gap fill will be support. So I don't know whether it will bounce at 39 or just below for a real gap fill, but I don't see us going below that. It's very, very strong already where it is. In fact, it looks more likely to go up for like this level here, 42.50 should be your first level of resistance. And if we go higher than that, then it'll be the old highs of 44, 44.50, and who knows, after that we could make new highs. Barrick Gold, that's obviously been weaker. I feel like this deserves to be so much higher. I know the Mali mine could be weighing on it, but still it's, I mean, it didn't really participate. I mean, we're basically at 16, right? We're at 16. 15 is where we were before the rally even started. So that's kind of That's mispriced. Now, support, well, where we are now, 16 is support. If we go lower, 15.50, I can't imagine it going to 15. Essentially, that's 15. So 15.50. If we start to bounce, yeah, 16.50 is your first level, but that's so small, so close that it doesn't even count. The descending here, I think, does count more so than Newmont. So I mean, Newmont really is just, it's too tight, isn't it? The descending. I remember looking at it before. No, it does it in one day. Barrick Gold all the way up here, so probably 17 something, right? Before 17.30, the bounce. Depends how long it takes. It probably will do 2, 3, 4 days or something. Yeah, above 17. And then bam, straight to 18. 18 would be a level after that. And then it's 1920. Simple. I remember that from before. Right, Agnico-Eagle. This one seems to be holding 64. Trades below it, but seems to be holding 64 on a close basis, daily close. For me, okay, well, first of all, if we do start to venture low at 63, and then, I mean, that's quite far away, 61.5, those two little candles all the way over here. But ultimately, the big support, like everyone else, 6% lower. That is a massive buy, Agnico-Eagle. I haven't actually nibbled at Agnico-Eagle since it's dropped because the rise has been just crazy, and there are other ones like Barrick Gold, you know, that have come down a lot more. So I've been nibbling at Barrick Gold instead. But Agnico, if it starts to come down to 60, and it's not going to hit 60, right? It's going to bounce at 60.57 or something. I'd be buying Agnico there, that's for sure. But otherwise, so far it's holding 64. So yeah, I'll just say 64, 63, and then let's see, maybe 61.5, 60 ultimately. On the way up, we've got this clear horizontal and the descending, and that is a realistic target, you know, 2-3%. It probably won't close above there, 66.5, let's say. But as soon as you break out of this, straight away after that, 69, pretty much 69. And then the old high of 71.50. So, and this is a very strong uptrend, so it should continue. Pan America, this one, like silver, it's really holding this ascending key zone. Look at this clear support here. So we've got this horizontal here, right? 19 point, let's say 4. That was resistance for a while. That's acting as support. We also have this secondary one here. Why did I put that? Oh yeah, this one here. And that's 20, big number. And it held us support a little bit on those 2 days. So yeah, between 1950 and 20, and you can see the tails here. Look at these wicks, very strong. And probably more importantly is this ascending. It is now coming into play. So it should be even stronger now. And silver has the same chart. It's got the same ascending support. So this should be super strong right now. It's possible to flush, of course, if gold starts to drop, or more importantly, if the miners start to drop, probably because of the European banking problem. We have this level here, 18. 18 should be very strong support because it's the next big level, and because it should already be going up because of this. And then you can play the resistance if you want, but it's probably better to hold for the next big move up, because I don't think we're done with gold and silver at all. This should be really, really strong support. Now, on the way up, this should just rebound really strong, especially if silver starts to move. I mean, this can make new all-time highs in 2-3 days. When we go from here, yeah, that's a pretty big move already. 21, 20 is not resistance. That's where we are already. Maybe 21 a little bit. Maybe 21.5, not really. It's one or the other. It's either 21 or 21.5 on the same day, and then it's that one the next day. So yeah, I would say 21 for now. I'll add it in anyway, but I'm not going to be selling anything. There you are. 1, 2, 3. All right, next one, SSRM. This one is horrible. All right, so here we've made a new low. We close at low of day, we made a new low. It's underperforming. Obviously, it's not even following the GDXJ too much, down 2.5%, whilst we were up 1.5%. I've mentioned it already. There's no point in being in this. I'm in this stock, but if you want to play the miners, you don't need to own a stock which has this extra variable, such as the Turkish landslide situation and Turkey itself. Where's it going? Well, I always said here it's very difficult to tell. I've got 4.5, 450 just because of a resistance here. But honestly, if we start to flush, I mean, it'll get to 450 straight away. But after that, you're really talking about low fours. I don't think it'll get to 4. It's hard to even view this one. It's just such a destroyed chart. 450 definitely, and after that I feel like 410, around this area, basically just above $4. But then you're back at a zone where it broke out of. I remember gold and the miners were going down. It was just so undervalued. It broke out of this range, so it doesn't belong below 4. And since then, the price, metals price have just screamed higher. So it doesn't belong where it is now, let alone 4. So, I mean, it's a buy, right? Fundamentally, not yet technically. I'm going to say 450 and 4, keep it simple, but I doubt we get here. But let's see if the market just starts to flush a little bit more. This right now it's very weak. Look at that, even closed at low of day. And I haven't added yet. I remember I was selling it all the way over here, 520, 530s, and I thought that was bad because the market started to look good again. Obviously, I don't regret that. But if it comes back here, I'm going to be very, very heavy in it again. And honestly, once we start to move back up, I'm going to trim this. And I don't want to say get rid of it because I still think this move to 10 is inevitable. You just need some time for the market to realize that they're worth 10, in my opinion, without their Turkey mine. So, but at the moment, it looks extremely weak. So 450 and 4 on the way up. I mean, normally prior support is resistance. I'm not going to call this support. On the way up, I would trade the descending. 5, it's hard to call. Probably this descending line here that emanates from here. But then it starts to look like a really good squeeze. I'm not really looking at the sells at the moment. I've sold already here. I'm looking at the buys, but I'm quite weary of it. I'd probably look at silver, the GDX, but then again, they're not really influencing it too much. So I think I just hold and look at everything else. Again, long term, I think it goes much higher, so I'm not too worried about it. And if it starts to make new lows, then we'll make another video on that. Okay, Wheaton, like Agnico-Eagle, is holding quite well in the middle of this vacuum. So right now we've got 52.30 that seems to be holding for some reason. I don't see why that's a level, but it is what it is. Sometimes you can just create one out of thin air. If we go lower than this 51, that was resistance. That doesn't really count, but here it was. So maybe that's a maybe. Then you got the low part here, this, and it's a big round number, 50. You can see a little bit of resistance there, and then support like 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Plus, it's a nice psychological number. Plus, how far down is it? 5%. That's realistic on a big flush. We've seen Wheaton do 2, 3% moves like everyone else. Here, 3.5. Yeah, I'd say both levels are correct. I think those. I don't see us going lower on the way up for sure. 54.5 resistance. Also, more importantly, this big day here, they've all got that count, and this one here, yes, of course, 55.7. I think I agree with that. So there you are. Those horizontal lines for Wheaton. Wheaton is just a beast, though. Nice streamer. I think long term, if the silver price keeps going up, this belongs way high, even though we are at all-time highs. All right, next one is Franco Nevada, which is not on my list. I accidentally deleted it. This one here, just as good as Wheaton, just nowhere near as high because of the Panamanian operation that got suspended or something. Now, I didn't actually notice this, but it actually went all the way down to 114, a little higher than 114, but in the 114s on Friday, which was a clear zone, like clear resistance, clear support, clear level. I even had this line already there. I should move it up a bit now. But I don't think we're going to go back down there. If we do, it's going to be clear support. So if we do have a flush of 114, and I think 114 will hold actually, even if it's a big flush, I don't see us going lower. Just that price action. It could venture lower, but then close at 114 or higher. Otherwise, yeah, 112 Wow, can you imagine that? You're basically getting Franco Nevada. That's not some crappy stock. All the way at the lows, you know, during this period, pre-scream up in the metals. So, I mean, it's a buy right where it is actually, but I've got enough in it. But if it goes to 114, I'll have to take a nibble. Sorry. And 112, another nibble. If we go up, then I'm not looking to sell Franco Nevada, but if I were to sell because I feel like the markets are going to flush and take the miners with them, 120, this level here, just below 122. Next one would be this level here. I don't know whether it's this candle, right? I've got this resistance for several miners. Otherwise, you can see this one is probably more credible. So what I do is I just put a bit of an average because it'd be a rough sell. And otherwise, the old high that we made during this big rally. I agree with that. Metalla. Wow, Metalla closed near low of day. I mean, we're talking about trading at the lows that we've been in for ages. And yeah, end of February, that's when we started to beast up. It's crazy. And it was really strong here. It wanted to go higher. I remember it wanted to go higher, but the sector dragged it lower. And now it looks like it wants to go lower. But I don't think anything's changed. It's just the sector. The sector's not even bearish. It's just, I don't know, that's the way it ended up. And I think you can take advantage because nothing's changed fundamentally. So it's a buy where it is. We're at a level. I'm going to say 87 is where I drew the line, but it can go as low as 280, 281, 280. That's also support. 290. That's quite, yeah. You know what? I think this range here deserves two lines because I was going to say it's not no big difference, but actually it's like 3.5% difference. So I'm going to draw those two lines, but the entire area between is a level. So let me just redo that. This entire area here is a level. Now, if we start to bounce, then yeah, 320. I mean, really, it's 350. It's just that's quite far away. That's 20% move. You're not going to do that in one go. So that's probably the middle ground. And you know what? I'm going to remove it. I'm willing to wait. Now, look at this descending, though. All the way from back here. So next time you bounce, if you start moving to 350 because the miners are going up, you're going to take out the descending on Metalla, and that should propel you at least to 4, if not higher. So this is ready for a squeeze on the next move up. I like that. Okay, to the silver stocks. First, Majestic. This one's underperforming the other ones that I hold. I mean, it already had lost its ascending. It was underperforming a while ago, so it's not a big secret. Tried to hold here. I think I nibbled some around here. Yeah, I did. Now we're basically at $6. The value of it is now worth the same as my other silver stocks. So I've put back in from this drop. I'm not interested in adding more just because it's at a new level. After that, I've got here, it's the same thing between 6 and 580. The next big zone, and this is absurd stuff, because if we have a flush in silver, if silver loses its ascending, or we go lower for whatever reason, especially the miners, there's a chance that First Majestic loses even 580. It starts to trade below 580. The point is, if we go down here, 520, let's say low fives, it's a big drop. Very annoying. But that is so low. Like the whole move. Look at this crazy move. Yes, they had some bad news here. But to give back all of that move, what a buy it would be here. I don't want it to get there. Even if I was to buy it, I wouldn't want it to get there. I think that where it is now, it can start to bounce. So maybe 580, but going lower than 580, I just can't see it. If we bounce, there is going to be resistance on the way up because it's weak. Yeah, 660 already is one level. Not the clearest, not the strongest, but still 8% away. So you can imagine, it's going to have a bit of resistance already there. Next one here. Yes, I agree with that. You can see why. The gaps, also the wicks. And then after that, it's going to, yeah, we'll see. That'll take quite a lot just to get all the way back here. Then there'll be very strong resistance, this level here. This descent will start to come into play also. Yes, I can get rid of its long obsolete. Not the best, but it's definitely big percentage moves possible out of that one. Fortuna, another one that had bad news. Dilution, I believe. I've forgotten. So this one's come to is at support now, right? 480 is support. You can see it was sort of choppy resistance there, roughly, right? It's the same as 5, which actually just below 5. So 490 to 480 is basically 490 is your real level. Let's just do 485, a bit of an average. You can see that. If we flush, here's the chop from the last move up. They've all got it. Then you're looking at 440. Now, Fortuna has come down from its highs 25% almost. If we go all the way down there, that's 30. That's a big move. Goes from 25 to 30, that's another 10% move. I don't see that. The thing is, it had a low of day close. It's not great. I just feel like it can hold because this is a level and it's come down more than the others. But definitely possible 440. I don't see us going lower than 440. I really don't. 440, they're all going to have come down a level if Fortuna's doing this. I'll probably be buying a bit of everything, but I'll definitely be buying Fortuna. On the way up, normally I would say 520, but that's just, you want more. 5% move. Yeah, okay. On the first move up, you could get a little 520, 519. But really, you're looking for this one, this 540 test before the gap fill. So before the gap fill, then the gap fill, at which point you're retesting the ascending. And then it's, honestly, then it's probably the old highs. You're not caring about that part. That's Fortuna. Next one, Coeur d'Arlène. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, my favorite one, right? I always say that this is my favorite for the big moves up in silver, and then it comes down more when silver goes down, but it just hasn't gone down. And look what it did. I don't even know if it was news. It stands out. It's up 7% when everything else is sideways. And yes, it held the ascending. So, amazing. This just reacted very well to silver, I think. If there was news, let me know. I could check myself, but I haven't checked yet. But amazing, 7%. We are basically one move away from $6, the all-time high of the bounce from the late February bounce. We never lost ascending support. I thought we would after this candle, but look at that. So yeah, if you close above 6, it would be such a shame if the metals and the miners started to flush and kill the momentum that Coeur d'Arlène has given, because the next move is huge. It's from 6 to 750. There's nothing in between, not even 7, not even the 50 cents or the $1 increments. It's just 750. I don't even see 7, and that's rare. And you can see how strong it is. So it could do it. We just need a bit of continuation in the silver price to help. Now, if for some ridiculous reason we start to give it all back straight away, I don't know, it's 530 the support, because the ascending would give way straight away if it starts to lose 530, close below 530. I feel like 523 maybe. Anyway, if we lose this, I'm not even going to draw a line because I don't think it's going to happen, and it's hard to tell exactly where it would be. So it'd be drawing a line for nothing. Then I've got this, yeah, $5. That makes sense. That'd be your first, level of support, a little area to bounce from. And then, yeah, 430, then that's already a massive drop. Honestly, I don't feel like going further than this because I don't see it happening. It's very strong. And yeah, I'm really concerned about the move up more than the move down here. Beautiful stuff, though. Next one is Hecla. Right, I've had to resume this video on Sunday, so I'm going to have to do some editing to put this together. So Hecla, I think that's where I left off. That's lost its ascending support. It's still doing quite well, right, compared to First Majestic, compared to, you could even say Fortuna, EXK. It's kind of on par with EXK. I'll get to that in a second. Actually, EXK is outperforming. But Hecla is one of the stocks that I do not own, that I really want to own. I think it's the only one left. I mean, Goldfields might be another one that's come down a lot the last 2 days, Thursday, Friday, which is why I'm looking at it. I used to own it during the March pump. Remember that? When it pulled out of the bid for Yamana, was that it? I've forgotten actually, but I sold that really high. I actually sold it much higher than where it is now. So before the February pump, so that's really good. But anyway, it's about Hecla right now. So Hecla, it's on its horizontal support, right? This used to be resistance, thereabouts. Now, it's, Thursday and Friday, it hit this level. So this is a mini level. What's possibly a bigger one, really, is $5, because it's $5, because it's also a bit of a gap fill. So if we do have a level lower, $5 I expect to hold. I don't expect to go all the way down here. That would be great. But I may just do a, for this one, I'd probably go in 4K overall. That'd be my position. The others are kind of worth 4K. CDE is worth 5, just because it's held up so well. But normally I would go in 4 tranches. So 1K, 1K, and then if it does a surprise drop, probably another 1.5K and just another 500 left for an extra surprise drop, which I don't see happening. I don't even see it going to 4.7. But because I think the bounce will happen quite soon, and because I think this is a bull market long term and the trend has changed, it's higher highs, higher lows. I don't expect us to go all the way down here because, we made a higher high, right? Look at this. This is like classic, for example, higher high, higher low, higher high. And this should be a high low. I don't expect to go all the way down here. Otherwise, we would still bounce, but it would kind of be ruined a little bit, the ABC. So I expect a bit of a bounce where we are. And here, I mean, it will bounce from there, but I wouldn't expect it to go that low. So yeah, where it is this level of support, $5 is level of support and 470. On the way up, let me just get rid of some of this graffiti. On the way up, I expect 560 to be a level. And then just 590-ish, maybe even $6, this kind of area. And then the old high. So sell into that, but definitely something I'm considering. So let's see what happens Monday, right? There's that European markets looking wobbly. If that flushes, what's the effect on gold and what's the effect on miners? It could be different. You could have gold, like Friday, you could have gold up a lot, silver also, hopefully, and the miners not up that much. But that's also a gift because the miners have underperformed the metals. They should be way, way higher. We know that, especially certain stocks, Barrick Gold and others. But on top of that, imagine gold just holds where it is or even climbs. Earnings is just going to be that much better. So it's even more of an opportunity. And Hecla, I'm sorry, you zoom out, that is pretty much going to go up here, $9.50, $10. That's, in 1.5 years from now, we're here. Maybe even 9 months or something. These things move fast. And think about it. I mean, we were here just a few weeks ago, right? Well, $7 is just there. Where are we at $50 silver? We're probably above 950. So, this is pretty much 100% move. Actually, look at this. It goes way higher than that. So this is not asking too much. This is 100% mover, and this is one of the top silver stocks. So Hecla, very happy. I just, it's my greedy self trying to get the lowest price. I just need to have a conversation with myself. How many entries do I have? Do I have 1? Do I have 2? Or do I have maybe even 3 or 4? I may probably do 3 entries, like 1 on Monday, wherever it is. If there's a drop, then another one. And then if it starts to pump and I think the low is in, I'll chase that last one in. So like I'll do 1.5K, 1.5K, and then 1K, something like that. All right, that's Hecla. Let's look at EXK. Now, this one has been one of the strongest silver stocks. The pump from down here, I think it outperformed everything. But that's because it was just underperforming everyone for age. I mean, this was a horrible time to own it. Very horrible. I really was, I was doing videos back then thinking, what the hell is going on with this one? There must be something, and I don't even know if there was, but the day of this big pump that I knew the bottom was in, it's just, is it going to go lower? And I forgot, I think I didn't buy any for a long time. I could think my last buy was like 220 here, and I just sort of gave up and I was buying others on the drop because they were all going down. It's just EXK was going down more. And then here I thought, all right, you've got my attention. Let's see what happens. But this is also when everything started to pop, right? This is the end of February, but this one outperformed. It held. Some of them started to give back. And honestly, since then, it's just been going up, up, up. I've been nibbling out a little bit, but now I don't even think I've bought any, but now it's worth the same as all the others. So, but where are we now? We have hit a bit of a level, 350. It was a bit of a gap zone. We filled that gap. Now it's still acting as a bit of a zone of support, 350. If it goes lower, I don't see any clear horizontal support until we get to $3 or just above $3, right? Thereabouts. But we do have this ascending, and that's pretty clear. So for me, I'm going to call it 330. So if we go low, it's 330. By the way, it's strong where it is. And it could also break out this descending, right? And that's something I didn't mention on the Hecla, but they all have, most of them have a sort of descending, and I love the descending breakout. This is the one I'm very good at also. For some reason, it's the one I nail the most. The descending I'm going to delete now for EXK, but they all have their descending, and EXK is no different. So if we move up a little bit, 370, 380 would be a level, very, very small intraday, like 5-minute level. But it's interesting because if you hit 380, like you'll bounce down intraday, you'll hit 375, retest the descending breakout. Where do you close? It's all about the daily close. Do you close above the descending breakout? Well, that's good. But what would really do it is just closing above the horizontal. Then that completely confirms the descending. But it's like the cherry on top. You've also taken out this last high candle, like high of day. And then you're basically destined for a move up. So for me, EXK, just to recap, 350 is a level, 330 is a level, $3 is a level on the way down. On the way up, the descending, which probably would be 370, then 380, and after that, you're kind of good. You're good for a run straight to 420, to be honest. $4 will obviously, around numbers, and it is a bit of a high of day here. So $4, so I'll leave that in. But those are the levels. $3, 330, 350, 370, 380, 420. If you must know. Mag Silver, that's hit the level already. So for me, it was here, 12, 15-ish. It looks like it was really 12. Fair enough. Fair enough. It is now, it's changed to 12 anyway. If it was 12, 15 before, it's 12 now. And on the way up, yes, I stick with that. 13.24. How much of a move up is that from where we are? 8%. That's one good day. Do we have something in between? If we do, it's probably something like this. Why do I say that? Because of the high of day there. Because here it's where it closes, here it's where it opens, and here it's the low of day. So I can see a little something there. It's very weak, but I'll just, a small line just to say that it's not the strongest one. And it's probably relevant in 1 or 2 business days. But otherwise, up here, 1325, and then up here, 1380. And then after that, it's kind of clear skies. Obviously, the high of day will do something. We'll call that 14. Yeah, thereabouts. Go on, let's do that. Good, that's Mag Silver. Now, Mag Silver was possibly with EXK a long time ago, one of the worst ones, just going down, 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 really never generating some upward momentum that it could sustain. But as they all did actually, no, this one was very weak late February. Look at that. It was really weak. But then it started to do a late move, and actually recently had some good news. And even before, when it started to go down, it had good news, but it still gave back a lot of it. That was very disheartening. But the point is, it's actually quite a good company. I'm no expert in all these stocks. I've said that before, but as I understand, it's one of the good ones to own. And technically, it hasn't gone up as much as the others. And it's actually quite strong relative to some of the others also. So I'm still holding. I always said I was going to get out of it, but I changed my mind, and I even added to it a few days ago. It's kind of worth the same as the others. I never thought I'd say that, but it's kind of worth the same as EXK, Fortuna, First Majestic, not CDE, because that's worth more. So levels, we've got $12. Then we've got one down here, 11.50. So if we have a move lower, that's the next level lower. Right, 5%, that's quite a big drop. Now, if we start to move up, here we go, this one little level here. Next one is 13, yeah, 13.30. Let's just see how much of a percentage move that is. 3%. Yeah, that's a big move, 13.30, but I think it could sustain a bigger move. 13.80, yeah, and the highs, there you go, Mag Silver. I don't see us going, by the way, below 11.50. A retest of here would indicate some big problem in the silver sector, which I don't foresee. And at that point, a lot of things are a buy. Right, now let's look at the non-silver, more what I call the medium tiers. They're not the senior gold stocks. Aris Mining, this one's been beautiful for a long time, way before February, by the way. Look at this uptrend. This is way before February of 2024, you can tell. I mean, when was the move up here? Well, yeah, it participated like everyone else, but it was already making higher highs and higher lows whilst everything else was making the opposite. But it continued. Look at that, beautiful. Had bad news, flushed. went all the way back up and made new highs. Incredible. I nibbled out. This is actually the one I've nibbled out the most of, I believe. And actually, it's still not worth as much as it should. So I'm quite happy because it looks like it wants to go down. Look at that horrible close there. For me, the level was the low that it put in after the bad news, 388. It closed below that on Thursday. And then Friday also low of day. This is an illiquid stock, you know, where sometimes the bid and the ask are quite spread out with not that much volume. So you do have some strange candles now and then. So sometimes a close like that can be a bit of a fake indication. But generally, I tend to believe it even for this stock. So it could go to 370, which I think is possible support because it was resistance here. Here is a bit choppy. Like I said, it's illiquid, so you can get some strange candles. But overall, you can tell there is some resistance here. And therefore, there should be some support here. It could end up being a bit higher, like there. It could end up being a bit lower, at which point I've got the other line to take care of the low of that consolidation zone. So I want to say between 375 and 350, it's quite a range, isn't it? There should be support, this entire zone. And where it is now, I mean, there's more yellow than non-yellow, so I'm pretty much guaranteed to be correct here. But if you see what I mean, this is, and we could actually still be, even though we're at 383, it could still be at the 390-ish support zone where we are. So yeah, it's a hard one, this one, when it comes to precisely knowing where, and you never know exactly, but where the actual support and resistance is. But you just have to work with the ranges more so here. Otherwise, on the way up, and we're not going to go lower than this. This is strong stock. I don't see why we'd go low. If we do, then take the time element into it. Probably going to coincide with the ascending, like $3. I do not see that happening. On the way up, which is a lot more likely. Honestly, I don't see much resistance except this old high of 450. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then after that, you've got this 480 big resistance. And after 480, it's the last one, 660, because after that, it just gets wild. I think I'd be all out by then because I wouldn't know how to trade it. I mean, I'd let it see how high it can go because this stock has been diluted in the past, but yeah, I'll leave it there. Right, next one is Gold. This is one that's done well. It did very well when I was chasing it at 295, $3, gapped, consolidated, gapped, and ran. It was going also well, and then bad news, and it was dilution. Lost, it was underperforming everything, lost the ascending support. It's come down now, and now we're sort of trading at the lows of 350 support zone. You can see during this period, got too many lines here. I need to delete a lot of this. It just hurts my eye. The ascending, it's lost. Even a retest wouldn't count. Okay, that's a bit better. So if we lose 350, let's talk about the way. First of all, that candle on Friday is quite good. That indicates a bit of a bit more stable support at 350. So maybe we do want to move up. I don't want to add more lines. I just want to see. There's no point because if we have any move up, it's going to break out this descending. So I'm not going to count it. It's too tight, too steep, let's say. Let's see. Yeah, this should be resistance 380 something, 385-ish. It was during this period clearly. And here's support, resistance. Here also support, resistance. Actually, it's quite clear to me. So 386. After that, obviously it's going to be $4. I'm not going to bother putting another line. That's just obvious, big round number. And after that, probably even stronger is just before 420. And then you got the gap. I will be selling into this because I actually went in quite hard in Gold. I said it at the time. I was very happy. And now that it's had its little bad news dilution, I feel like it should encounter a lot of resistance, and I just want it to be worth less instead of 4K, probably 3K max. I just feel like it doesn't deserve that much value. I could just buy Hecla instead, right? I could swap Gold for Hecla. But instead of swapping, I'll have both and less cash on the sidelines. But I intend to make up for that by selling on the pop. A bit of everything, actually. I was a bit too heavy. I still am. On the next move up, I'm going to be trimming quite a few, especially Gold, because of the, dilution. So there you go. The levels, I don't see us having to go below 350, otherwise 330, otherwise 320. Yes, I can see why. Wait, why 330? Oh, yes, this one here. You know what? I think that's null and void. Why we do that? That's a bit better. Give it some room. We start to flush 350 with bad news across the sector. It's probably going to go down again. Then it gets very strong when we get to the 320 or even lower. All right, B2 Gold. You can tell that B2 Gold is operating with this ascending support. I mean, this is no coincidence now. You know, obviously, 1, where it starts, 2, 3, 4, you could even say 5. It's very strong. Now, you don't want to close below it. And if you do, support is immediately below anyway. So I think any flush of this would actually be bought from 250 and end up being a nice hammer. That's possible. So this is very, very strong. This entire area here is super strong. I've already bought it. And to be honest, I bought most of it here. So the what I bought here wasn't that much. So the value is, I don't know, the average is, I think, 270-ish. I'm making that up, but it's higher than where it is now. So I'm underwater, but absolutely don't care because it's a small, shallow pool, the way I see it, and it should move up quite quickly. And once we break out this descending, I mean, it should start to run. And this is a long-term hold for me. I know the Mali thing is fragile, sensitive stuff, but I think it's more than priced in, which is why I decided to finally go into it. The upside for this long term with the dividend is beautiful. So support, I'm going to say the ascending 257, let's say for now, 255, 250, same thing. And under that is 230, 240, 235, let's say. And underneath that, I think it's the COVID low, which is ridiculous to be talking about COVID lows in this bull market. On the way up, 270, otherwise the descending. And that's all you need to know. After the descending, it gets very, very exciting. Then it's $3. This doesn't count. And then it's 340. And that's the really big descending. Next one is Equinox. I really like Equinox technically. The company I know very little about, but I love it technically. You can tell this range is so strong. All these little wicks. Look at that beautiful little, I mean, you expect a green day, right? But still, that candle's nice. I can't see them anymore. Nice hammer. Resistance is only the descending. You know, probably coincide with the high of these two. A move up here. Probably retreat a little bit and close here on a good day. Next day, bam, you're closing above it and then you're running. So for me, resistance is about 535, descending. It's really the descending. You break out of it on a daily close, you're basically going to run up to 590 quite quickly, not in one go. You'll probably stop off at 560 or something. 590, and then it's 650. For once, I don't have too many little levels. I think it's just, you know, straight to business. On the way down, well, where we are now, between 5 and 515 is a level. As you can tell, all these lots of little buying going on here. I love it. If we flush $5, for me, 470, just below 470, but basically 470 is a level. I don't see that happening. So that's all I'm going to mention. 470, 5 to 520, and then this little special 535 descending breakout, 590, 650. SBSW, this one always gets me. Every time it breaks down from a level, it just reverses, you know, breaks down, reverses. Beautiful. Point is, this is a level, right? You just buy it. If you bought it, leave it. Don't touch it. Don't put stop losses in, right? I'm not trading stuff that I'm freaking out of to stop. Like, oh no, I'm not buying some Chinese trash which I need to stop out of because now it's broken a level and tomorrow it's going to open down 38%. I'm buying something that I believe in long term. So if it starts to do these little, you know, what normally would be a stop out pattern, I'm not stopping out. I'm ready to buy more at the next level if the thesis remains intact. But actually, and I said it before, this entire area here is one level to me. So I watch these levels. I may even trim on the next test of a level, which I intend to do here just a little bit on SBSW because it's just my luck. It'll probably start breaking out the moment I trim a little bit, but I don't care. That's the point of the trim. You know, I'm holding a call position because I think it can still go up. The point is this entire area is a level because this can run a lot and it can dump even more. So I'm just happy to hold. Hopefully it reverses and goes all the way up here, 590. If it does, I seek to trim around, I don't know, 589, 588, something like that. But I think we have time to do another video before it gets there. The others, I go on Eldorade. I haven't done that in a long time. I haven't looked at it in a long time either. This one's holding up very well compared to the others. I can see that straight away. Low of day close, not as strong as the others. You've got a bit of support here. There also, right here, it's from this range here, you can see white support. Also, that seems to stretch out all the way down there. Otherwise, here, a more recent level of resistance. So that could also, in case it flushes, act as support. Here, because of what it happened here. And then here, because of what happens here. You could even say a bit here, but whatever. I don't see us going all the way down there. If we do, you start hitting the ascending support, which is extremely strong because of how long and how many times it's hit it, and at decently spaced out intervals. But forget it, if I'm not going to go down here, I'll be selling furniture to be buying this stock if we start to go down there. But yeah, you can see 14 bucks and a nice round number. On the way up, actually, this is your new level of resistance, 1650, and that's it. That's it. After that, I think it's like 19 or 20, if I remember. Yeah, 19, not even 20, 19 and 22. Yeah, I agree. So 19 after you take out 1650. This has been a really good stock for a long time. Go on, I'll keep going. Kinross. Okay, it's trying to establish some support around 740, 735-ish. Why? No reason. It's just decided it out of thin air. Maybe it's the GDX and gold and silver was finding support at that time, so it just adapted. So you have to create one out of nothing. I'll just do something like this. This one, why this one? Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll leave that one in. It might be true. So if you have a drop, maybe 710 acts as support. It's a strange number actually to act as support. Why not 7? But we can see why. Otherwise, we can see this little level of resistance. So maybe 680. I'll drag that out a little bit. I don't see us going down. Kinross has been really good though. And look at this, by the way. This test here of this resistance was beautiful at 830. 830, absolutely beautiful. Look at that gap there. 830 resistance, wonderful test. So let's mark it. I seem to be marking them a bit more now. This level on the way down, otherwise maybe here, otherwise there. I don't see us going down, but if we do, this will be super strong, I reckon, because it was recent resistance, recent support during that consolidation phase. If we start to break out, 830, of course. And where do we go? $9. Yes, nice round number. Also the high over here. Wow, but Kinross has been really strong. And I remember during the Russian sanction, I mean, it was one of the weakest miners because it has a big Russian operation. I believe, I'm not even an expert, but I think that's true. And which is why it took a lot to get it off the ground and running, but it's actually made up for it quite recently, especially since February. Wow, look at that move. How much of a percent? A lot of the miners have actually gone up 100%, but okay, actually, it's not that much. Just looks good. Next one is Goldfield. I kind of covered that one unintentionally. So this one had bad news and bad production or something on that Thursday. Big drop. It was like 14%. Big drop. Where did we close? We closed here and then it closed there. Yeah, 15%. Horrible. Next day, Friday, given the bad close, that's actually okay. But it was a green day, so still underperforming, you could say. For me, support is here, but you can understand why it didn't decide to do it in one go. It's already, had a catastrophic drop. So maybe some support here. I don't see any clear reason why it would be here. 1350, I guess. I'm not going to say it's a big round number, but it's a bit of a round number, the 0.50 part. Otherwise, I would say $13 actually. That's a bigger round number, and it's close enough to ascending support. Maybe I'm wrong also on the ascending precision. So yeah, 13 should be strong. But who knows, maybe if we bounce in the whole sector, it does it at 1350. I think this level is too close now. I would normally say that's support, but it just flushed it straight away on that Thursday. So if we move up, I think 14 is too close to act as resistance. Maybe something like here, just between that low of day and that high. Yeah, high of day. 1480 maybe. And then after that, it's going to be the gap fill. Wow, I don't know actually. This is also a bit of resistance. Normally I don't cover these stocks, but Goldfields, I don't know. I'm quite interested. See, if I was playing bounces like I used to, I probably would have added the Goldfields already. But there you go. Those levels I'd watch. Quite a big move. How many percentage to, wow, 40% to get back up to where it was. But I'd probably find that very difficult because of the production news. So those are your levels to look at on the way up. Maybe you want to trim if you hold some and probably buy something else. That could be wise. But if it goes down here, I don't know. I'm not thinking about buying some, but it's probably worth considering. Novagold, another one that's really a bit like B2 gold, not come up enough. But it's made up for it recently. Recently here, just pop. Now look at this. I haven't been following this one that much, but I always had this line drawn in, and I realized that it touched it perfectly and came back down. This descending lines, they really are my favorite. They're the easiest, they're the most likely to work, like to really be resistance or support, let's say, especially resistance. And they're the easiest ones to trade for a breakout if you're buying. So where are we now? We seem to have found a bit of support around 340. I guess that's a bit of a zone from back here. Here, this support kind of, you can see how many times it touches there. Obviously, it goes below also, but that's why this level has also been marked. So actually, and that's a gap fill. So this is probably even stronger, 330. But what's the difference between 340 and 330? Very little. So this zone here is a zone of support. It should be. It already is, actually. This is quite strong. No, I'm not going to do that. And then on the way up, actually, I wouldn't even say this is resistance. It's just a descending. $4, basically. If you start to move up now, you start to hit your head at $4, which coincides perfectly with a big round number. So keep it simple. 340 to 330 and 4. And if you go down again, which would be highly unfortunate because it's finally gotten going, 280. Not even $3. That'd be really disappointing. Next one is Harmony. So here you're covered by the two lines, I guess. Let's see why I drew that. It must have been a long time ago. Ooh. Where are we? Oh, sorry, here. No, that doesn't really make sense. Why did I draw that? Maybe I saw the results and drew it, which is kind of cheating. I don't see why I draw that, but it is true that now it is $8 is a psychological number. Okay, so $8 here. Well, this no longer counts actually. So that's support. Where's resistance? Well, I feel like you might find some difficulty to get up here. After that, well, this is a big round number, but that's not actually your resistance. It's more like 1020. That's what I would draw. Those are the levels on the way up. On the way down, yeah. So right now, $8 has already been support. It's already come up. There's your first resistance. There's your last one before it goes to new highs. This thing has just really outperformed everything for a long time. So, but on the way down, look how strong this would be. This would be really good. Ascending, and it's not quite likely, but it's realistic. If you have a big flush, everything goes down one level. This would come down to $7, maybe 720, $7, same thing. And then it hits the ascending support. That'd be super strong. Really. Harmony, what a monster. Really, really always strong. South African stuff. Finally, Anglogold. Let's zoom in. This one's hard to read. Resistance there. Yeah, there's a bit of resistance at 25, but I don't care. I'm not going to draw it. Here, there's a little bit. In case it drops, it could surprise drop. It could find some support there, 2160. If we go down another level, yes, $20. Huge number. Resistance, support. And this gap, forget the gap. We're not going to go below it. There you go. That's all you need to care about. Those three lines, I guess, if you own it. And if it goes up to the next level, 30 is extremely clear. This one's very clear, actually. don't need to draw too many lines on this one. All right, let's leave it there. I did a lot of I covered a lot in my other videos, but I'm fixing it all together. As you can see, I'm wearing different stuff. It's a different day. So hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully you find it useful. And I think next week will be very, very interesting because we've got a bit of a market meltdown, European banks. Let's see how that affects the US markets, which may in turn affect the miners. And how do miners get affected by the gold price one way and the general stock market the other way? So that's really the key. And we can already see, the difference between yields, treasuries, and the dollar. Normally yields and the dollar go up together, but here we've got yields going down and the dollar going up. And that's because people are scared because they're buying bonds. So that they're buying bonds and buying the dollar. So, which I covered at the beginning. So good luck. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.